Come on in. Come on in.
Dr. Page?
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, it's me, Alex Z from ADP.
Oh, yeah. Good to meet you.
Good. How are you doing with the weather?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
It's been a little bit crazy. It's been cold. I was out making snowballs and having fights with my friends yesterday, so.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I'm kind of used to the snow, but it's good.
Okay, are you from the north then?
Yeah. I moved down here a couple of years ago.
Interesting. How does it affect your business? Has it been a little bit interesting with all the snow and stuff?
It's. I mean, people aren't out and about as much as it, so we don't. Most people, our people that would come in for other reasons might not come in as much. But we generally, I mean, we're certainly seeing more people from slipping on ice and related injuries, and so I'm not really sure if it overall increases the number of people we see, but it's definitely affecting it somehow.
I guess that's interesting how you kind of have the bad weather has possibly could cause more people to come in, but at the same time you don't, I guess, want to be seeing people come in. You're a doctor and you can't take care of people, so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's never good for someone to have to go see an emergency doctor.
Mm-hmm. So, as you know, ADP, we manage payroll software. We are trying to come up with a solution, hopefully, for you to help out your company. Here is my business card. You already have my email. When I previously sent you an email, you said that you'd have about 10 minutes for this meeting. Is that still holding true?
Yep, that's fine.
All right, good. Just to check ahead of time. Now, I'm just going to ask you some basic questions about your company and make sure that the payroll software I talk about for you and all the pricing and stuff actually matches what you hopefully need. So first off, you currently have how many employees?
35 total.
35 total. Are they all at this location?
No, at this location we have 25,
Mm-hmm.
and then at our second location we have 10.
So you have 2 locations in total.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good to know. Are they all full-time?
Yes, those 35 are full-time employees.
So no part-time employees?
We have one part-time employee, but those 35 are full-time.
All right, good to know then. How do you currently do your payroll or paychecks? Do you do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly?
We do bi-weekly.
So you do bi-weekly?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the decider on what payroll software that you'll be using?
I mean, we've never really given it that much thought. It's
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of picked one, so I guess I'm the decider.
Okay. Who currently manages it then?
That's my wife. That's our part-time employee, actually.
So you actually run the company with your wife then?
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess you manage the medical side of it and she manages the accounting business side of it a little bit
Pretty
then?
much, yep.
Interesting. So how many hours a week does your wife spend currently managing payroll?
Generally it depends, it depends on the week and what's going on, but it's generally between 20 or 30 hours.
20 to 30 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to manage 35 employees?
Yeah.
Interesting. Does she think that's too much time currently?
She's mentioned it a few times that
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't really want to be spending that much time doing it. She, we have 2 kids at home, and she'd definitely like to be able to spend more time with them than she is currently.
Yeah, I'm personally somewhat surprised that you're spending that many hours to just manage 35 employees for payroll. So I definitely think we could possibly come up with a solution for you that would really help you and help your wife.
Oh,
so following that, what software do you currently use?
I believe it's called Microsoft Dynamics GP.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How did you currently come to Microsoft Dynamics GP? What do you think of it?
Like I mentioned, we didn't really do a whole lot of research on it. I basically just picked one, and it's been working so far. But
It exports to Excel and some basic stuff like that, correct?
Yeah. It's met most of our needs at least.
All right. How much do you currently pay for it?
I believe the license is $1,500 a year.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I definitely think that our solution for you could be cheaper and really help you out in that aspect, especially the hours for your wife. 20 to 30 hours just to manage 35 employees is quite a lot. So some basic problems that clients will run into that we always like to ask about. Do you have any return check errors or anything like that?
She mentioned on average we get about 2 or 3 per month, and those are generally misspelled names or that sort of thing. So
All right,
I think it probably just comes from her having to manage them manually.
So she does them manually, actually?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that ADP does is that we try to do it all through the computer, so that way you don't have to be doing them by hand.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully decreasing by the number of errors by a lot. Most clients, as far as I know, they never have any payroll check errors, or if they do, it's one because someone typed in Bill or Bob instead of Bill or something like that. So following that, Do you plan to expand anytime soon?
We're actually looking at that right now. Within the next year, or maybe 2, but hopefully within the next year, we're actually planning to add 5 new employees.
5 new employees in the next year or 2?
Mhm.
Well, that's good to know. That way, when you license, hopefully you make sure that you can manage all of that, and especially new employees in the future. How are you currently planning with Obamacare and all the new healthcare laws and the new labor laws? How do you currently manage labor laws?
Honestly, we haven't really given that much thought to
Fair.
it. I know we really probably should, because it's it's kind of a big deal, but we haven't really had the chance to look into that and look about
Little
it.
interesting fact about ADP: when you're one of our clients, we try to make sure that you're always kept up to date without ever having to manage anything. We actually send posters to you every time that you have to update your posters or anything, and update your paperwork, so that way your employees can stay up to date. You can stay up to date. You can make sure that the federal government doesn't get on you about any labor laws or anything, and you're always safe on that front.
That sounds very good.
Now, following that, how do you feel about implementation? Would you like it to be fast and immediate for both locations? Would you possibly like to break the locations up?
Oh, and you mean do them separately?
Yes.
I feel like if we did one first and saw how the transition went, then we could might make the second transition easier.
All right, that's good to know. Following, this is kind of a question that is interesting to ask some people. People in different fields often have very different answers. We do have some features that you can choose to have concerning mobile devices and web pages. And it's up to you whether or not you really want them. And I always like to ask, how do you feel about that, so that way when I come in and bring a solution to you, that it does or does not include that, because it's typically up to the employer. How do they feel about that feature being added?
So it would be, like employees being able to check
all their
what's going on.
payroll. There's this is something I was going to ask you next about paid days off. They can check their paid days off online. All of that stuff can be managed online. They can check it there. They don't have to call you up or anything. And some people feel like there's a security issue with it. We believe that we have come up with a solution that does not have any security issues and does not have any fraud issues, but still employers sometimes feel uncomfortable with it, especially in the expanding age of internet.
I think we'd definitely be willing to look at it and give it a try. I'm totally all for giving the power to my employees to be able to keep up with all that information and be able to check it whenever is most convenient for them. So I think if it would be advantageous for them, I think that would be definitely a good thing.
All right, that's good. When I talk to you about the solutions of the future, I'll kind of add that in, and we'll definitely talk about it more, so that way in the final implementation, if we do something, that you definitely know whether or not you really do or really do not want it.
Okay. And you mentioned something about paid days off?
Yes. Currently, how do you manage paid days off when an employee should get paid on a day that they're be taking off, and choose to do that?
At the moment, it's again basically just my wife handling it. We basically just count them manually, and if an employee actually wants to have a paid day off, they basically just contact me or my wife and basically just check how many they have left. And
oh, so you actually have to manage a phone call. And have you ever had, I guess you've had issues once or twice in the past where your employee will call in and you have to say no or yes, or
like if they don't remember, or they have no way of knowing,
or they maybe already accidentally took a day off or weren't feeling
Right,
well and already
right.
halfway through it.
Yeah, just the records are a little bit inconvenient. And
Okay, well, that gives me a pretty good starting point for our future talks. I feel like we might be pushing it close to the 10-minute bubble. I would like to ask you, when you and your wife will be free next week, so that way she can be here when we make any decisions. I don't want to suddenly here's a software that you should buy, and the person who's going to be using it hasn't seen it whatsoever. I could also bring in my laptop and have it on there, so that way you can kind of see what it looks like. Since you said you haven't seen many different softwares in payroll, that way you can kind of see what you're looking at and see how it kind of compares to Microsoft Dynamics. So that way you know what you're getting yourself into. Same time
I
this
should
week,
be able to do
or-
the same time. Yeah,
Same time next week sounds good then? All right, well, thank you, Dr. Page. I hope to see you next week.
Yeah, it's good to
And
meet you.
I'm going to be happy to see your wife then also.
Okay.